Now. All right. Hello, everyone.
It's not the fake Super Geeks.
It's not. It's the real Super Geeks.
Real Super Geeks.
The real Super Geeks. We have a special guest today because, well, we needed a special guest because it's a special episode. Dave Galanter, a Star Trek author. Yes, that's right. There's more than one of them out there. And one of them is our friend Dave Galanter, who has rejoined us graciously. And he even took a nap and everything. Thank you for joining us, Dave.
I did. Thank you very much. I don't know if the nap helped me be less special, but we'll see.
Well, we'll see. You know, but you got the cool purple mood light going on in the background. And Carlos, you missed it earlier. He was fiddling with it. He can do it with his phone, and he can do cool, funky things with his lighting.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Kind of like Ketwalski with the blue, except purple. So.
Well, I mean, it's like what Carlos was doing in that other person's house the last time he was streaming from there. He could literally
from my friend Elizabeth's house when I was dog sitting.
Does she have LifeX bulbs?
She has. I forget which
Philips
brand
Hue,
it was, but
maybe.
yeah, it was nice and blue in the background.
Oh man,
they voted for purple. So,
hey, purple's great. It's a good color on you, Dave.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
With us today, as usual, is Carlos. How are you?
Ready for action.
He's ready for action, people.
It's been a week.
It has been a week. It has been a week. So, and then we also have Joe. How are you?
For action ready.
Oh no.
Well, you know. And then we have Son. How are you?
Lamenting the fact that this is the anniversary of the death of Ralphie May.
Of who?
Oh. Ralphie May is an Arkansas comedian who
oh wait,
isn't that redundant?
Comedian.
I've heard the name.
I remember Ralphie May. He won like Last Comic Standing or something.
Yeah, he's one of those people that was very offensive. Very offensive.
One of those, huh? There's only a billion of them out there. Okay. And we also have with us me. How you doing, George? I'm doing good. All right.
I'm like the only person with a last name.
No, I should my last name.
With last name.
But my last name's up there.
You're famous.
Oh, yeah. I see. It's listed. I don't.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mention Justin. Justin, how are you doing?
Doing good, thank you.
Justin has video.
Justin is on video today because he just feels like doing it. So, which is good.
Actually, everything working. So yes.
Yes, and he's got a new headset. Came in just in time for this episode. And I have my new flannel shirt, which I got today from Amazon. Almost missed the UPS guy, but you know.
Thank God. Well, shall we get into it? There's lots to talk about.
There's so much to talk about. I have to, I think there's not one of us in this room who have not seen any of the trailers or the short trek that came out today, which I didn't even remember was coming out until Carlos reminded me a little bit before the show, and we'll talk about that. In fact, let's talk about that first. That short trek.
Okay, so you're going to have to correct this statement because I've not seen that yet.
Okay. There's a short trek that came out called Q&A. It's the one with Spock and Number One meeting each other and getting stuck in the turbo lift.
Okay.
And Carlos, you start. Tell me what you think of it, because I'm still processing it.
Well, they this is the short trek that they actually had a teaser out a few weeks ago.
Right.
That was pretty funny, and of course the two characters getting stuck in an elevator trope it's a tried and true situation. And some of it is funny, and some of it was quite serious. And it was a great way of sort of picking up on some of the threads that we've seen in season 2 of Discovery between Spock and Number One and Pike, and also what we've seen from The Cage, the original pilot. And Michael Chabon, the author who's also the showrunner for Picard, wrote this short trek. It's a good 15 minutes long, and he weaves those threads together and gives them some new stuff and lots of meaningful glances between people, and a very great exploration about Spock's sense of his own emotions and why he made some of the choices that he made between the way we see him behave in The Cage and we see him behave in Where No Man Has Gone Before, and basically the rest of TOS and all the movies at least as far as into the motion picture. So it gives a good sort of and wonderful, I think, kind of emotional exploration of Spock and how his relationship with number one influenced him in what really became some very profound ways from one 15-minute little accident in a turbo lift. Can't hear you, George. You're muted.
Can you guys still hear me?
No.
Now we can. Yeah.
Okay. I want to almost say that Star Trek, CBS is not just talking the talk, they're walking the walk. They tell everybody, hey, you can make a 15-minute fan film. And what are they doing? They're like showing you what you can do quality-wise in 15 minutes. I find it interesting that they do this.
I don't think it's intentional.
No, I know, but it's just...
Anyone who's a storyteller knows that you can tell a good story.
It's a mini episode. Mini episodes are... Doctor Who's done it. Everybody's done it. You can do it. Battlestar Galactica used to do it. They called them webisodes back then.
I love how everybody just missed that subtle dig that Carlos put out there.
Again, son, everything you say half the time. Maybe that's for the best.
He literally just said everybody knows. Everybody who's a good storyteller knows you can tell a good story in 15 minutes.
Oh. Okay.
Just saying.
Dave, you saw it. I know you did because we talked about it at PM. So what did you think?
I loved it, and I would make one differentiation between Carlos as far as the cage and Where No Man Has Gone Before. I would say the man trap. I think Where No Man Has Gone Before, somehow with the uniforms, Spock is still a little bit more his cage Spock. Your Earth emotions. Sort of,
Okay, yeah, I would agree with that.
It was early days.
I loved
Spock.
it.
But the chemistry was awesome between the actors.
It was fierce, really.
Great to see the Enterprise.
Yep.
And I loved. I think Ethan has Spock nailed.
He does.
And honestly, I think Rebecca has number one nailed, and we barely know anything about her.
Didn't they throw in a lot of little teases in this?
There's a lot more than teases. They gave us a lot to chew on, really.
And they named her.
Well, they did also in that in the season finale. He called her Una also, but.
Well, he said that's her name, and George and I had a little exchange on Instant Messenger a few hours ago after I told him, "Go see this. It's up on CBS All Access," and he said, "Oh, damn! They teased us again with not telling us what her name is." And I'm like,
"Her name is Una.
Did you look at the pad?"
Well, then he literally asks her, and she said, "What's your name?"
No, he says, "Your name is Una," and she says, "That's not a question."
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, well, you're both right. He did say, "What's your name?"
I'm sorry, guys, but I got a Mrs. Robinson vibe in that turbo lift. I'm sorry. I don't care what anybody says.
Wait a minute. Okay,
my God.
We had sort of confirmation that her name is Una.
No.
Yeah.
He literally asked. That's her name. It's on the pad too.
Because wasn't this something that was brought up like months and months and months ago?
Yeah.
The last season that her name was Una.
And my stance was that Una's a terrible name. And I think, Dave, were you with us on that one? Because I feel like we've had this. I feel like we've had this debate before.
It was Dayton Ward.
Was it Dayton?
Yeah.
I don't know. All you authors look the same to me.
Dayton Ward said that he heard.
Oh no!
Listen.
Yeah,
that's pretty bad. Dayton Ward said that he had heard in sort of the writers' room of the virtual internet that the idea that some people liked amongst all you people, Dave, is that she's from a clone society or something. And that's a designation. I don't know.
I'd never heard Dayton say that.
He said it on our show. I'm just
Una comes from the books.
Right.
The name Una for her. And obviously in the writer's room is one of the authors. And so my guess is that that is the influence of the Star Trek authors community rearing its head.
Adam Miles says, subtle as a brick in the head.
Yeah, because it did come from a novel. But I personally like
and one of the Star Trek authors is Una McCormick, whom we love. So.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. That's
now, what's interesting, though, is, remember when we had this disagreement, I think, George, you felt very much on the side of wanting it to be Una. I fell on the side of wanting it to maintain the mystery.
No, I wanted the mystery.
You did?
I didn't want her to be named at all.
Oh wow!
I liked.
It was Sean that said. Just
was it
right.
Sean? Okay.
Because I like the way
get it over with.
Yeah, because in the episode where she had the cheeseburger or the jalapeno sauce or whatever it was that she had,
it was spicy Whataburger.
Right.
Ketchup.
Yeah, and Son made a joke that it was right. There was a Wendy's or something.
It was a Beyond Burger.
Right.
Guys, Una just means one.
Right.
Yeah,
You just could
It
have
means
given
one.
that to
Right.
Starfleet.
But what I liked about it, what I liked about that first episode she was in, until they ruined it in the finale, where he actually calls her Una when she's in the torpedo room.
Yeah.
And it's
not in the captioning.
They skirted
That's
around.
right.
I said to myself, if she beams on board the Enterprise, they have to somehow deflect how it's common for them to, like, this is my first officer introducing. You can't just go, this is number 1, 2, but they skirted around it. They skirted around it because they never showed any introductions. And I thought, that's clever. But then they actually teased us with, he called her Una real quick in the episode.
Yeah.
And then in this episode, they pretty much threw it in your face.
If my memory serves, that it was Una was not in the script for that episode. So.
I don't know about that because I wasn't there.
No, you're right. It was not. It was
because
not
I had to write a book, so I had read the script. And
would know.
Didn't see it.
Yeah, I think that was a tossed in at the last minute thing.
I think so too.
Rebecca's rapport with Spock in this episode with Ethan was just, it was awesome, and it really informed us not just of him and his, like you guys said, his transition from his smiley cage self or whatever you want to reference to why he changed in the middle of his transition into TOS Spock, and her character, and like I love the descriptions. I loved it. Hold on a second.
I'm sorry.
You know, she starts with a giggle, and you have to wait and see what she wants. What?
Okay, so trans person here. The only thing going through my head is he made the transition to logic.
Oh, it's a word. That is funny.
And he sure did. Well, and in some ways, it is similar in the sense of his sense of self really changed in a lot of ways as a result of that interaction.
Also, the way she describes, when he asks to describe Pike, and she gives those 3 descriptions of him, one of them was the one that people keep saying about him, how he listens to what everybody has to say. I'm paraphrasing. Listens to what everybody has to say, and he'll either change his mind or whatever. I just like the way she described him. I can't remember the exact wording, but it was interesting. So.
Yeah, her description of Pike I thought was fantastic. The 3 points, and I'll say again, Anson Mount is in this episode maybe 15 seconds.
Yep,
steals the show. Still,
yep.
I mean, the way he the sense of the relationship between him and number 1, and even his first impression of Spock was amazing. It was powerful. And all in just a few words and very little time.
He has a commanding smile.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that is actually true. I had one. It's okay. This isn't really a nitpick. I'm speaking from the audience's point of view. They said in the first episode of Discovery Season 2, the first episode, Pike told Saru, but we got the new uniforms. This is like years before, and they still had those. See, that's the kind of thing that someone's going to pick up on.
Oh my gosh, Star Trek being inconsistent.
I know.
Well,
no.
I mean,
No.
the thing is, we have to remember that this is the first time Spock came on the Enterprise, so they should technically be in cage uniforms as well. So
right, that is true.
And the other thing is, Shouty Spock, the way he was when he first beams in onto the Enterprise, Shouty Spock was still present in the cage, which happens after this episode.
Reporting for duty or whatever.
Well,
I thought it was
tell
funny
him never to shout again. She just said no need to shout.
But he does when they go to Talos 4. I'm just kidding.
No, but Dave's right.
Okay.
Dave's right.
Yeah.
But anyway, there was a lot of nice touches like that, and there was plenty in there for people who want to hate on it to be able to say, well, it's not consistent with canon because they're wearing the wrong uniforms. Blah blah. Blah.
Whatever.
It was a great episode.
Yeah. Well, we already know from the trailer for these short treks that they mix and match. You see some cage like uniforms in some of the Triples episode in the trailer. A couple of them are wearing those.
I think you see some of the colors.
The palette. Justin, you saw the episode too, right?
Yes, I did.
What did you? I know Joe and
I've
Son
only
have it.
only seen it like once. I need to watch it a second time to really get a
What did
feel
you think?
for it. I thought it was quite well done, though. People are going to nitpick it to death, just like people
That's the
do
way it is.
anyway. But I mean, if you ignore the obvious flaws that were just said, I mean, it's a good short. I mean, it's well done, and hopefully they hold the Pike lovers over until they decide if they're going to do a show or not.
I think this is a good test that they know.
It's
they
a good
know,
indication, I think.
Yeah.
But they're gonna draw it out and let us know when the timing is right.
Yeah, I think that's an announcement you want to make at San Diego Comic-Con or New York Comic-Con or something like that. You want that to be a big announcement.
Yep.
I also think maybe they have to get their ducks in a row as far as I mean, they're starting to spread their teams a little bit thin. They've got a lot of Star Trek out there, and the people who think they're just gonna Kurtzman's just gonna walk on stage and say, all right, you all applauded, so we'll make a Pike series. That's not going to happen this year.
Does anybody know? Justin, you would know. Is there any more Trek panels coming for the rest of this Comic-Con weekend?
No, I think there's an Orville one coming up.
An Orville panel tomorrow.
Okay, but there's no more Treks.
I thought we were going to get a Lower Decks trailer today because they had it on with the other stuff, but I guess maybe that wasn't done in time, so we might be getting
I can't recall. Have they ever spread that out before during a con? Is it usually all the same day, or I can't remember off the top of my head. Is it possible that we're going to get more news or throughout the weekend?
If they didn't have all the stuff ready, I mean, it's possible, but you never know.
They could have a panel on it and not show a trailer or anything.
Right, but okay, so
animation takes longer, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Quite a bit longer.
Well, you know what's never been shown yet so far is the one that's on Nickelodeon that's supposed to be about the 3D one that's coming about the kids
that
going.
One is I think that one is still in development, so I wouldn't count on seeing anything for a while. But Dave's point is absolutely correct. It's like they have a lot of shows that they're holding up in the air, and they need to proceed deliberately. And if they're going to they need to find the right people to do it, and they need to make sure that they've got those people scheduled, they've got the actors scheduled. All of that needs to happen, and so it'll happen when all that stuff comes together. But certainly they know the fans want it, and they've hinted heavily that they want it too. But until they can put everything together, it needs to be put together. It'll be.
By the way, for all the audience that are checking in and saying hi to us, like Kale, hi Kale. If anybody has a question for Dave, Dave just got done finishing a book. In fact, I want to pick your brain a little bit about that. What you can tell us, Dave. Dave just finished a Star Trek book. So if anybody has any questions for him, post it in the chat. You guys keep an eye out, and we can have Dave answer when we get a chance. But Dave, what is the name of the book? Can you tell us what it's about? What can you tell us?
I can tell you a little bit. I mean, I can tell you what they have in their promotional material. Star Trek Discovery is the show. It's the book is called Dead Endless. It's out December 17th. I think you can safely say it's a Kalmitz book. So
it's a what book?
Kalmitz. So
about
Stamets
Culbert and Stamets.
and Culber.
Oh.
And
that's right. Yep, I remember seeing that.
That's a horrible pair name.
I did not create it. The internet created it.
Yeah, I didn't like.
But if you hashtag
Kalmitz, I like Stambert.
That's
what I like. Stambert.
I was not involved in any of that, but if
hashtag they're already married, why do they have to be a pair?
It's so what people do, son.
I mean,
and why is everything hashtag with son? Anyways, go ahead.
In the future, it's not. I mentioned no hashtags in the book, and I think, by the way, people would be very upset with me if all of a sudden I had Tilly saying hashtag cute couple or something.
That's true. It'd be a very antiquated expression by then.
Yes, it would.
I mean, it was the Star Trek page on Facebook that said "silly for Tilly" in a hashtag.
Tilly for Tilly. Okay.
Silly for Tilly.
Oh, Stilly for Tilly.
No, silly. Silly.
That's actually a Facebook group.
That's funny.
Silly for Tilly.
Silly for Tilly is a Facebook group. I'm in it.
Is it really? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. What can I tell you about it? It's there is a mycelial communication that they're playing with to see if they can communicate through the mycelial network.
Okay.
And the Discovery gets trapped in the mycelial network itself, sort of like it was in that one episode where they were half in, half out.
When does it take place? And during what part of the story?
Yeah, that it takes place, definitely.
You can't tell us what season, but can you tell us pre-future or future?
It does not take place in the future of season 3.
It sounds like it takes place before they get back to the war.
He's not going to tell you.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not going to tell you.
He's not going to tell you.
All right.
I can tell you what that is.
Okay,
season 1 or 2.
Yeah.
I can't even tell you that.
See, that right there is an answer in itself.
Okay,
Thank you.
So ignoring the asking the question of time, did you just get through saying they're trying to communicate through the mycelial network with Starfleet?
Careful, Dave. She's tricky.
With anybody.
So it's basically them trying to create what they have in the subspace network.
Yeah, a subspace version of
a mycelial version of the subspace network.
Yeah.
Justin, can you pull up Admiral Akbar saying it's a trap because Sun's gonna she's gonna get him in trouble.
No, I'm just fascinated
I'm joking,
by
I'm joking.
technobabble.
Literally the first, you know how in a book they'll show you the first page, they'll show you on the first page something from somewhere later in the book.
Yeah.
Sort of entice
It's called the hook.
Yeah. It basically has Tilly and Stamets talking about, hey, what if we did this?
Oh.
What if we tried to communicate through the mycelial network? Let's work on that. And then, like I say, eventually they get trapped in the network and hilarity ensues.
As it always does with fungus.
That's right.
And with Tilly.
It's fun, Gus.
Because she's a funny
does
character.
Anybody remember the Mario Brothers movie? That was hilarious.
No.
Was there fungus in that? I don't remember that movie.
Oh, yeah, mushrooms.
Mushrooms.
That's right. They do have those mushrooms.
There's always mushrooms.
I will tell you this.
They
The
evolved
characters...
the king into a mushroom.
The Star Trek Discovery characters are wonderful, and I had a ball writing them. And I especially loved Tilly Stamets and their relationship because it's just so they have good chemistry.
They're fun to write for.
They're fun to write for. I don't think we see enough of their chemistry. Almost like, well, it's mentor student in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So,
It's also kind of frenemy, isn't it?
See, I would call them friends. I wouldn't call, but I mean, she irritates him. And so
you know what I like about
fun to
Tilly?
do too.
You know what I like personally about Tilly is she reminds me of me. She's manic, especially the energy when I was younger, let alone now. Like I recognize.
Actually, the theory I heard is that she's on the spectrum.
I've heard that too, but that can also there are also like people out there that are both that like have that manic energy that comes out when they.
Yeah, I did not write her like she was on the spectrum. I wrote her like she is
full of energy,
kind of ADHD a little bit.
Exactly.
Okay.
But she uses that focus,
right?
For wonderful, brilliant things.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's cool. Now let me ask you a question since you just got done with that one. If you had when you were writing for Tilly and for all these characters, who ended up being your favorite character out of all of them to write for? Who was like you wish you could do another story and focus on? Like, was it Tilly or who was it?
Oh boy, that's a good question.
Because I have a feeling that you would fall in love in the process with maybe lean towards one of them.
I love. I'll get myself in trouble.
Oh, well, don't give away a character if you're not allowed to talk about them.
I love Saru and his interaction with almost everybody.
He has a good dynamic with her too. Yeah.
Although there are even even scenes from Saru's point of view, I would love to do a book.
He can't say Mirror Lorca, guys.
Is that what I can't say? Wow, I didn't even know that I couldn't say that.
Son knows everything.
Well, when we had Dayton on, I asked him because, as it turns out, in retroactively, he was the first one to actually write for Prime Lorca, because his story was Lorca in the Prime universe before all this happened, right? So he, in a way, that was the first time anybody's told a story with Prime Lorca, and he went by what CBS told him because he hadn't seen the actor playing him on to say what would the opposite him be like, because he didn't even know who was being cast at the time. So I can only imagine that for you, having seen these characters, it was different because you had an idea in your head what they were like. So you had to figure out if you're going to be accurately portraying them. Is that
I had seen everything that we've seen to date other than the short track in the middle of writing the book.
Okay.
I started writing the book about, I want to say, oh gosh, no, at the beginning of the season. But I had read the scripts for season 2, so I knew it was coming. I was not spoiled, which, by the way, it took every fiber of my being not to be screaming on the internet, "It's not the Borg."
Oh yeah.
But
you mean control? Control has nothing to do with the origin of the Borg. Are you kidding me?
But you sign an NDA, and I can't say anything to anybody. But
that's funny.
So I was still writing the book by the time the season was over.
You're still faster than George R.R. Martin.
Well, thank you. You kind of have to be.
Yeah.
Almost, my cat might be faster than George R.R. Martin.
Maybe.
And I must have watched all of those episodes, season 1 and 2, and the short treks, I want to say 5 or 6 times each, so that I could get the cadence into my head, or how Saru holds his body. Which, by the way, I even asked, you'll find it on Twitter somewhere, I asked the actor who plays Saru, Doug Jones, how much can you smile in that thing? Because I wanted to, know what he would say, so that I could sort of craft Saru's smile in the book. And so I mainlined as much Star Trek Discovery as I could.
Oh, that must be awkward too. I would think that someone would want to cut themselves off from watching it while they're writing it, or does that help? Because I'm thinking
you need reference material.
I must have also watched, just as I'm sitting down writing. I mean, because there's only so many hours of Discovery. I watched every series, not the worst episodes, but the best episodes, just tooling around from episode to episode, just to have it on in the background. And the only danger there is, you don't necessarily want to start mixing, the jargon over the years, because, landing parties and away teams and things like that. But yeah, I need Star Trek on in the background, because I've seen so much of it so frequently that it can sort of blend into the background, and it's not overwhelming whatever I'm writing.
All right. Other than your book and all that, who's your favorite character on Star Trek Discovery so far, besides any of the ones that you focused on?
That's a good question. I think probably Tilly. I think it's probably because she's so real, and she's so like so many people that I know and can even be sometimes, because I'm silly. That she just sort of comes to life for me.
Cool. Anybody in this room here? Anybody in the chat? Again, if you have any questions for Dave, he just finished a Star Trek book. Is it already out, Dave?
Yeah, December 17th. So
December 17th.
Excellent Christmas gift. You'll get it in time for Christmas.
And you're going to join us for the special TMP episode with Dayton Ward, Larry Nemechek.
Yes, I will.
And others. I know. I'm getting better. I used to call him Nemesek, so it's an old joke. But anyways, so Dave will be joining us for December 8th special episode for the Motion Picture 40th anniversary. So we will remind everyone and let him plug it again 10 days before it comes out. That'll be 10 days before it comes out, so yeah.
Yep.
And it's the same day Crisis on Infinite Earth launches, just so everybody knows.
Oh, is that right?
Yep, December 8th. So I found that out today. I was like, oh, wow, that's weird.
Yeah, it starts with Supergirl, doesn't it?
Yes. And I'm predicting that obviously all the Supermen are going to line up in that one. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what we saw today for everyone else. We saw the Picard trailer. We talked about the Discovery short trek. Let's talk, and we'll talk about the trailer for Discovery, but let's talk a little bit about...
Why are you shaking your head, Joe?
It's just so exciting.
Oh, okay. Well, yes,
that
it is.
Picard trailer, wow. Let me let... Carlos, you want to start with this one?
Sure. So this is the latest trailer. It tells us a lot more, fills in some some gaps from the first one. Still leaves a lot of open questions, which you want the trailer to do. But certainly gives us a little bit more and introduces things we'd heard about and finally got to see, including Will Riker and Deanna Troi, and confirms the fact they have a daughter who, Riker yells at while he's wearing an apron in the kitchen. I thought it was really interesting in this that for so many that the locations for Picard, for the Rikers, were all things that could have been from almost any century. Log cabin, a stone house, excuse me. The vineyards. Of course, they had the drones that were doing the irrigation, but apart from that, it could have been the 20th century. It could have been the 18th century.
Spoiler alert, that was not Will Riker. That was Chef from Star Trek Enterprise.
Oh, yes, it was.
Oh, you did not go there.
And not only that, but just so you guys, Dave probably knows this, but Ketwalski had posited that she is named Kestra after Deanna's dead sister because it's in the IMDb, and the age of the actress, Lulu something, is exactly right. So I have a feeling that's going to be the case. But carry on. Sorry, Carlos.
Probably, if it's in IMDb, it's likely to be correct, although not guaranteed.
Right.
Justin's putting up some of the photos of the locations. But what's great about it is that we're seeing some of the character dynamics coming out between Picard and this guy who Justin just put up. That's David Paymer, I think, the actor, but I don't know who he is. But that's where he says to Picard, are you sure you want to go back out in the cold, back out in the field?
Yeah.
And Picard says, I do. But, we see a little bit more of the ship that they're going to be on. We see a Romulan warbird that's basically like an old school Romulan warbird.
Kind of, yeah.
Like a TOS era Romulan
Actually,
warbird.
Son can tell you exactly what class this is. She was shouting about it all day.
Oh,
What's
yeah,
it?
too.
Touris or something like that? Touris?
T''Liss.
Tallis, okay. I would like to also add one quick thing for those of you who have ever seen World Enough in Time, the Star Trek New Voyages episode. The beginning of that, the cold open for that, actually shows some Romulan ships, and they were designed by my friend Joel Bellucci, who did that animation, that CGI for the beginning of that, and they're gorgeous looking. They're sort of like the original series warbirds plus like armor plating, and they look very real and kind of.
They remind
organic.
me of the refit, like what they would have looked like other than the Klingon one that was supposed to be Romulan, if they had been in the TMP era.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen it, folks at home, you can watch World Enough in Time. It's on YouTube and God knows where else.
Great episode.
And just watch the cold open where you see the Romulan ships, and it's some beautiful CGI that was done, and that was like close to 15 years ago now.
Real quick, there was a question that finally got asked when we started talking about another subject. Kale asks Dave, and not to go back and forth, but because someone asked. Question for Dave: how does the Picard series in season 3 of Discovery affect book canon? Is there a new writer's Bible or something you guys have to go off of now? The writers have made such a cool universe post Destiny, so I'm curious if they will use any of the ideas you writers have created from the past decade or so.
Honestly, I'm not tuned into what's happening in Picard. They only tell me the stuff that I need to know. Right. But I can tell you that, you have certainly someone in Kirsten on staff who, and in fact, Kirsten's a co-creator of Star Trek Picard, who is, tuned into the books and what has happened. Whether anything will align fully or not, I don't know. But I will tell you this, in talking, there is a very close collaboration more than ever before between people writing the new books that are coming out. And Kirsten, for instance, was instrumental in some of the themes and plot points in my book. However, any of that can be undone in a line, in a script, in a later episode, because they are not tying themselves to the books. They're just trying to
They're not beholden to them.
Right. And that's the way it's always been for books. But I will tell you, I was writing Next Gen and Voyager when the shows were on, and I remember having to rewrite a sort of a book 2 of a 2-book series, because Paramount said, "Hey, you can't do this," while I was in the middle of finishing up the book. And that doesn't happen anymore because they're working more closely.
They're trying to stay ahead of it.
So will you see anything in the the post Nemesis books in the Picard series? I honestly couldn't tell you, and if I knew, I wouldn't tell you. So, but I can tell you that there's certainly respect for all of the tie-in media. But you do what's right for the series, and writers have to do what's right for the story that they're telling. And also remember that Patrick Stewart's involved, and he's an executive producer. Yep. So even if the writers' room had come up with an idea, he might have said, "Hey, wait a minute, let's do this," and they might have said, "Yeah, let's do that." So things change.
Christian Byers, is she the same one that wrote that Discovery episode last year? That's a friend of yours?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so.
She's been on the writing in the writing staff of Discovery since the beginning. I think last season she was
was it the
story editor as well as a writer.
Yeah, was it the Baul episode? I can't remember. Right.
How many nacelles does that ship have?
What?
Holy crap!
Well, a lot of.
That's weird.
There's one that's on the screen. She wrote the episode with the vibrating crystal. The name is I'm forgetting in first season, and she wrote.
Oh, it's in Latin.
Yes.
I can't remember it either. She wrote a Voyager episode too, right, or something.
She never wrote a Voyager episode, but she wrote a lot of Voyager books.
Books. That's what I'm thinking.
Yes. Okay. And was it an Obel? No, Saints of Imperfection was her season 2 episode, and she was just recently, I think, in Toronto as they shot her season 3 episode.
I didn't know she was the showrunner for Picard. That's interesting.
She's not the showrunner.
Oh, I thought
she was the co-creator.
Oh, co-creator. Okay, I thought you said showrunner. Sorry.
And I think a producer on Picard too.
Good for her.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I don't remember which episode it was, but I just remember that stuck out. And I actually remember you were on our show when that episode came out, and you were all proud of her and talking about that, and that was good. So,
I cannot tell you how proud I am of her and how wonderful it was to sort of work with her in hashing out some of the details of the book that comes out in December. So when people say, I think John Jackson Miller said, these books are as close to canon as you're going to get. I think that's true until it's not true. So
right. I think that's a good way of putting it.
They can undo anything in a book, and I think they probably have undone stuff in some of the Discovery books already. But who cares? I mean, they're all just stories.
You
enjoy the story.
Yeah. I want to mention, while I can remember in my head, off the top of my head, before I let someone, and then you guys can all chime in. I want to mention my takeaway from the Picard trailer. I wasn't the only thing that. Okay, I'm going to be the contrarian a little bit. I love the trailer, but there's something about the music choices and how they edit and chop it that bugs me. I don't know what it is. It feels weird. But when you get to that last part, once Riker is chopping up vegetables or whatever he's doing, and he's yelling at his kid for yelling, or the interaction with him and his daughter, you could tell that it's a daughter because obviously it's a girl's voice, and she says "Dad," and it's the way he's yelling back and forth. It's one of the most. It feels organic and realistic. The way that they're.
Yeah, stop yelling.
Yeah, stop yelling. And then I love the part where Picard and him are sitting on that bench, and the way he says he knew better about trying to talk him out of it, and the way he reminded me before my dad passed away when he was about the same age as Patrick Stewart. The way he patted his hand, there was something so realistic.
Yeah, that was a great moment.
I loved it. I think they improvised that. It felt like they didn't rehearse that. I could be wrong.
It was very father-son vibe.
Yeah, it was. It was also friends, old friends.
Right.
It
just felt real. It just felt like they didn't rehearse that. They just came out and they said, "All right, let's keep it."
It was a sense. I would not assume that at all. They're actors. This is what they do.
That is true. I know.
And most of the time, improvisation is discouraged because it messes up coverage when you're shooting different angles. And if you all of a sudden in one take decide to do it differently, all the coverage of that same shot from another angle is erased. It's as if
Right.
it didn't happen, and it's just not a good idea. So improvisation, unless you have a director that really is set on doing that, is not typically what you see in most.
I agree with Carlos.
movies.
These people know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah,
I just felt it felt so organic. But
well, that's
again,
good, means they're doing their job, George.
exactly. But like I said, there's something about the music. But I'm not gonna get in.
You know what's
picky.
really interesting to me is I don't remember one fucking thing about the music. I
Same
cared
here.
about seeing.
No, it wasn't that. It was the
I don't
way
remember
that.
anything.
I cared about seeing Hugh. I cared about seeing more of that cute Romulan guy with the bow and arrow.
Wait,
And
okay, wait a minute.
Yeah,
Whoa,
the
whoa, whoa.
music
Back
cue
up,
didn't care.
back up just a little bit. Hugh. Okay, so that one little frame that we have of Hugh, right?
No,
he's
there's two.
running.
There's
he was
two.
running.
no,
He's
no.
running, and there's
And I think he was the
I
one
think
that
he-
Seven was holding. That felt that was dead or whatever. I don't know. Same,
I hope he's not
same,
dead.
I hope so too. But that scene, I kept asking everybody, "Who's this?" And because Seven's holding someone and crying, it kind of like, from what
I
I,
don't
can
think
make
that
out,
was him. No, one of them was
You
him
think it
running.
could be Dakota?
And
Can I-
one of them is right before that scene where they're
It-
putting down those triangle
young,
shaped
Justin.
cards. He's in that shot right before that.
Oh, can we talk about how awful the Data Dream hair
Can I
wig?
finish? Can I finish?
I didn't even know you started. Go ahead.
Literally
Yes.
ran
Oh
over me.
no!
You guys literally ran over me with
Sorry,
your
we're a
own
little
Hugh
excited.
conversation.
Go ahead,
It's okay,
son.
son. Go ahead.
Okay, so that one scene with Hugh where Seven says very briefly, and it's the shot of him, I'm protecting people. Dude looks
I help people who have no one else to
dude
help them.
looks
Yeah.
strikingly like a young Chakotay. in
That's
that.
what I was saying.
It doesn't feel right to me though that it's him.
No,
It could be.
First I thought it was Itcha, but then Sean pointed out how the actor
it looks very
Like a
There
young-
similar to
there
Chakotay.
is a slight resemblance between the actor who plays Hugh and the actor who plays
Manu,
Chakotay.
yeah.
But I
Oh,
don't think it's a
Chakotay? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it's look. Here's the thing. I don't think it's Chakotay.
Maybe
I think
it's son.
I think the whole thing of her kind of, it seems like they're setting up this, she's latched on to Hugh because he looks like Chakotay.
Well, you got to remember something else
That's
too.
ridiculous.
Here's
She's
something
latched onto Hugh because he's like her. He's
Right, a
he's been
liberated Borg.
liberated from the Borg.
Right. And the thing is that people forget Hugh went back to the collective the last time we saw him. He wasn't still liberated. So obviously he got rescued again. So she probably had something to do with that.
No. The
No,
last
he
time
was
we saw-
separated.
Last time we
No,
saw,
remember he went back.
No,
back?
George.
No,
There was a
No.
whole other two episodes.
Remember.
I don't remember Hugh.
Remember the first
With
time
lore.
we get introduced
lore.
to the subspace vortex thingy the Borg use, the transwarp stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
in
data lore.
TNG.
Yeah, but I don't remember Hugh wasn't in that. He was only
Yes,
in
he
one.
was.
Yes, he
Yes,
was.
he was.
It was the
He
whole
rescued
reason those
the
Borg
thing.
were disconnected from the collective.
And Lore took them over.
Oh, yeah. The Renegade. Okay. Yep. I forgot about that.
And Lore took advantage of them by giving them emotions in small doses.
Yeah, they justified Picard versus Nechayev. I remember now. Okay. Yeah, okay. But yeah, I don't know who she was holding, but obviously she's in charge of some kind of a underground railroad for liberated Borg of some kind. I mean, that's what I'm gathering. And Picard has a connection, and they've even used that in the IDW comics because her and Picard have that in common. You know, they were former Borg. So
Sure. I
she's
would
been-
not go so far as you are, George, in terms of what she's involved with. We have
Yeah.
no idea what that is.
I agree, but I'm just saying it feels like that.
And
But
I
It
would,
doesn't to me.
I would
Doesn't
say
to
don't
me.
bring comics into this because we all know if
no.
they
I'm not saying
Yeah.
comics are canon at all. I'm saying the idea that Seven and Picard have something in common as far as a theme.
Oh,
for-
sure. No,
for
I mean,
what-
that's
for
fine.
why as a
It's
writer
what
somebody
links
brings them
her
together.
and him and
Right.
and
That's what I
Hugh.
mean.
That all makes sense. But the idea that somehow she's leading some cadre of liberated Borg would not go so
I'm
far.
now seeing all three of them in some sort of support group that they attend to monthly.
Yeah. You
Hi,
know?
my name is
Former
7 of
Borg.
9, former tertiary adjunct of.
Yes.
Hi, 7 of 9, former tertiary adjunct.
By the way,
Cutest was slaughtered the Alpha Quadrant.
I wonder if she even goes by 7 anymore. Did they
Probably
mention that
Annika.
name?
Probably Annika.
I would think she goes by her regular name.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think she goes by 7 still.
She might. It's a nick. It
That'll
can be looked at as a
interesting to
nickname.
see.
I'll bet you $20.
Which do you bet, Joe?
It could go literally
she
either
goes by
way.
Annika.
You think?
I
she goes
think
by
I think she
Annika?
goes by Annika, but I think honestly, it could go either way.
$20.
It's Dave. You're the writer in the room, and I know Carlos is too. But
Shake my hand.
Dave, you're the most recent writer. If you had to choose and they gave it left it up to you, what would you have her say? Annika or 7?
I would make it Annika.
Yeah, I would make it 7.
But what would you do, Carlos? Not what do you think, but what would you do?
That's what I would do. I would make it
You'd
7.
make it 7.
And the reason why is because
This,
there's
by the way,
so
why
much.
there's writers' rooms.
Yes, this is exactly why there's writer rooms. So you hash this sort of stuff out, and
I know.
eventually you browbeat one another into one way or the other.
Well, based on observation from the trailer, she does seem to be embraced. She has embraced her human side from the looks
Yes,
of it.
I totally agree with that, and that is exactly the reason why I think she keeps 7. 7 was she was never Annika. She was Annika as a child for a very tiny portion of her life.
I guess it just
And-
depends
And
on the
now
writer.
she has
Here's an idea.
humanity, but she needs something that ties her back to what she was.
But see, Carlos is right in that it all depends. Well, Carlos is right in that this is what gets hashed out because it could go either way.
Oh,
She was crying,
That's
holding
where you
whoever.
become,
whoever
him
was
finish,
dying-
Where do I
George.
want to go with
Let
it?
him finish.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Just which way do I want to go with it? And
Right.
there's a valid way either way, probably.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
mentioning
I mean-
one and Carlos mentioning the other.
Yeah, and I think the reason that I would prefer seeing her go forward with 7 is because, particularly in light of what we know, kind of the bigger themes of Picard are going to be, is that 7. Annika was what she was when she was a child. She hasn't been Annika in a long time. 7 of 9, tertiary adjunct, blah blah blah, Unimatrix, whatever, was who she was for most of her adult life, most of her life, and then 7, just 7, was who she became as a result of being those two things and having been part of Voyager's crew and learning to discover her humanity. And I feel like that was her journey, and her journey, resolved itself in her being 7. And I think that's why it makes sense for her to
My only argument to that
name.
All right, my only counter argument to that, if I was in a writer's room with you, which kind of this could be, is in the trailer we see her holding and displaying emotion and crying tears, which remember she had to get that thing removed because she couldn't pursue a relationship with Chakotay because the emotion filter. Well, the trailer, I only just now remembered this, is that she's displaying full-on emotions when she's crying.
That doesn't mean her name is Annika, George.
But
It
she
could, though.
she spent more time as 7 than she did as
She
Annika,
did.
right?
That is true.
Exactly.
Well,
but
not anymore. I mean, it's been
Right, not
many
anymore.
years.
Oh, that's true for the
Right.
last 30 years or whatever. We
Right.
don't know.
What if
Well,
she's
sure, we
using
don't
both?
we don't know, but my whole point is that her time on Voyager was really a crucible for her. I'm sorry, what?
It remade her.
It remade her, and it remade her with the name 7.
We
And
also have to remember this is not Star Trek 7, so we might not even know.
Ultimately,
All
it
that's
depends on what
happened
the
to her.
writers in that room came up with. I mean, we all could be wrong. They could be.
Oh,
She
sure.
could be going by
no,
Joey.
I mean, this
for
is
all
in
we
some
know,
ways
you know.
it's us saying our personal preferences, but
Right.
from my perspective, it's what I think
Right.
her keeping the name 7 means for her in terms of possibilities.
And there's
in
no wrong
further
answer.
Character
There's no wrong
development.
answer. Yeah, because I mean,
Look, George, I want to say this: if
What?
if we're getting a transitioning 7, her male name has to be Chris,
Huh?
because her last name is Hansen.
Okay, True Crime Daily. Okay, Hugh, you're in the room. What were you doing with that pizza? I don't know. Anyways, so, well, it was an episode. Look it up. I don't know. I shouldn't explain the joke because it's funny. But anyways, so yeah. Anybody else have any thoughts about that?
There's that scene
Yes.
I put up.
Yeah, look at
of
that.
her holding up.
She's going emo, full on emo.
Yeah,
What
but
is-
unless she has like a T-shirt that says Annika on it, I don't think this scene proves.
And by the way, I can
Could you not
guarantee.
be using both names?
I guarantee you that's not Robert Beltran. Just letting you know.
Maybe she
It
only
was
calls herself
Beltran.
7 when she's kicking ass.
probably.
That's you never know.
I think the fact that the Borg implants you still see her wearing are essentially the same ones you saw her wearing in Voyager.
They want to keep the signature look, yeah.
But no, if you really wanted to make a point of she's become even more human, some of them would be gone.
Or cosmetically,
like
maybe
the thing
she wears it like jewelry.
I just think that the fact that she still essentially looks the same except for the hair obviously is different, and that's a good thing. But the parts of her that are Borg,
different.
What's that? And her speech, yeah.
Her manner of speech is very different.
But the parts of her that were Borg are still Borg that we see anyway.
Joe trolled us really good earlier today, and I actually posted it and had to redact it because he actually made me think that she was married to the doctor.
Oh my God.
I was having computer problems.
Joe, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, I actually believed him because I was having computer problems.
Him on a roll.
I was having computer problems, and I couldn't watch the trailer right when it came out. And he's like, she's married to the doctor. And, it actually made sense to me, so I believed it.
Of course it makes sense to you, George.
Joe and I were laughing at you the whole time in side chat about that one.
Anyways, it kind of made sense for whatever reason, but Joe is not the source.
This is the guy that literally got obsessed on Picard's dog's name.
Obsessed.
Don't even get me started on that. Oh, you already did. Too late. It's too late.
Why did you do that?
You lit that fuse, son. I'm just going to say.
Look, I lit that fuse just so you could run for an hour by yourself.
No, I mean, his name is... Well, because here's the thing. It said #1 on his tag. But that didn't confirm that was his name. Because,
oh my God, George! What else do you think that means?
Oh my God!
It could mean I have to go #1. I don't know.
It was a license number.
George, if I'm ever in the military and my dog tag says
literally
mean son of a bitch, what do you think my name is?
Son.
My name would be mean son of a bitch because it's on the dog tag.
Dave got it. Well, anyways, the point was that I thought it was cool because I love dogs, and I just thought it was cute, and so there you go.
So I put up here. This is one of the Hugh references.
Yes, that's the one.
But there's another one after this.
But see, that's why it makes me think he's the one that she's holding and crying over. Because look at his hair.
His hair here is straight. The hair of the other guy was curly.
Well, if he got killed,
could it be his son? Could it be her son? Did it? I mean, could
she might have a child? That is good observation, Justin.
I mean,
everybody else
we think the guy.
Oh, wait a minute! It's only been 12 years, dude. She wouldn't.
But,
the kid.
But we think it looks like Chakotay, so maybe it's theirs.
I would not go so far to say any of those things.
It's not. That's not impossible. I will give him that. She could have had a son. She could have had a son with Chakotay. That is possible. That is not outside the realm of possibility. I actually am starting to think.
But that has nothing to do with Picard,
right?
So I tend to believe it's not because it's an overcomplicated thing to throw in there.
Carlos is being the voice.
Hey, do we know if Icheb's in this at all?
According to Sean, that's not even possible. I guess he's blacklisted. I don't know.
I don't know if he's blacklisted,
but he's a difficult person.
Yeah. And I don't know the story behind that.
He does follow me on Instagram, though.
Sean told the story. The last time we actually saw him on screen as Icheb was in Renegades, which didn't even count as anything, but and he died. So, I don't know what's going on with him.
I'm telling you right now that if the current Star Trek shows are going to follow Renegades,
no, that's not what I'm saying at all. But according to what I'm hearing today, and I only just discovered this, I'm not going to get into it, but he did some things that made him, I guess.
Oh yeah, that's
blacklisted, and I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, he's had some legal problems with the law and other things. We don't need to go into them, but just
I know. Like I said, I don't want to get into it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, he's not Icheb.
I have no reason to.
Never mind. I remember now.
Yeah, I don't want to disparage the guy. I mean, Manu's cool. I like his video. Watching some of his videos.
And by the way, here is Hugh reference #2.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
At this point, obviously the girl has some connection to the Borg cube there, but we don't know exactly how.
Hey,
Dave probably knows.
I wonder if the girl is Q's daughter.
Oh, will you stop with that? Q. You are Q obsessed.
No,
Q
not
obsessed.
Q.
Oh, Q's daughter? No, I don't think so.
I think she's just from that cube and was liberated, and however,
Maybe.
she is important in some way. Other than that,
No, she's incredibly important. We know
right.
that.
So
I will
not just
repeat,
saying.
I don't know anything about the Picard show, and by the way, I like it that way. It's not like
I got a spoiler for you. Picard's in it.
Well, yeah, I know anything that you might know, but I don't know any details because I don't ask for details because I want to enjoy the show as it happens. And
They seem to be going out of the way to throw all this stuff out at people, let them know stuff.
But I'll
during all
just tell
these...
you this: a lot of the ideas that you guys are throwing out there make it less the Picard show and more the reunion of all previous Star Trek shows. And I don't think it's going to be that.
Exactly.
No,
That's
no,
what I've been saying
I
all
agree
along, Dave. And
well,
no, you don't, George. Every time we talk about Picard, you're always about reunion this and cameo that and Q.
But not for the
God
whole
knows
story.
What.
And Luke's going to be Mandalorian.
Yeah, that's different. But I also said, according to the IMDb, the Rikers are only in one episode, so it's not like that's a reunion thing. It's one episode.
Well, I mean, nobody says there's not going to be any cameos and there's not going to be some reunions. But the point is that if you're looking at that as some sort of creative direction for the entire story and season, that's not what's going to be happening.
Okay, for example,
exactly what trailer?
What's that?
That was a whole season trailer, not the first episode trailer.
Right, exactly. I believe that they'll eventually, maybe next season, visit Deep Space Nine. That doesn't mean it's the whole show.
I hope
it just means it's a visit. Why wouldn't you do it?
Because it's fan wank.
Because it's the Picard show.
You know, you guys say the fan service like it's a bad thing.
Fan service
is a bad thing.
If not if it's used intelligently.
That's not fan service.
It's okay.
Well, I mean,
small amounts, but if you try to change it too much, it just makes it look like shit.
Justin. This is why every anime has one beach episode.
Right. One and done. That's fine. All I'm saying. Like, there's nothing wrong. If you can fit it into the story, there's no reason not to do it. That's all I'm saying. But and they've already done stuff like that, like with other things like Star Wars. Yeah. So, anyways, speaking of Luke being in the Mandalorian, no, I'm just kidding. So
wait, so before we do that, I want to. No,
we're going to keep talking about Discovery. Go ahead.
No, but one last thing on Picard. So let me put up this. Let me put up this frame from the trailer. I want to get you guys' opinion on this. Okay. On what this is. So when Picard has his nightmares and we see those attacks from
I actually think I know what those are.
They're Klingons.
Nope. I know what they are.
I don't think they're Klingons.
Nope. They're Morin's race. Sean showed the picture earlier. The guys that are chasing everybody.
Oh, good God.
No, I'm serious. Hold on. I'm serious.
No, George.
You're thinking.
No.
Dave, I showed you the picture.
He's one of many aliens in that race, in that scene where they're all running. That's
true. There was an Andorian. Yeah, that's true.
And that's Discovery.
I have a.
And that's Discovery. That's right.
I have a theory. And this goes off of other people's theories that this is a Tal Shiar tied to a Borg thing.
It could be a Tal Shiar thing because look at the wings, the nacelles. They are kind of Romulan shaped.
But I think maybe
they're in the trailer,
some type of a Klingon Romulan thing, because if they're going with anything, Klingon should be starting to rally up at this point.
Rally up for what?
Like, isn't there like another war or something?
They've never mentioned the Klingons as part of this at all.
Well, I thought there was like an all-good thing.
This is not a Klingon thing.
This has actually been the first time we've had something Romulan-centric for an entire...
And long overdue.
Oh,
long overdue.
I remember now what I was
going to... I'm sick to death of Klingons.
Right.
I think everybody is at this point.
Yeah, I want to pick Dave's brain for a second. Dave, I have a theory. It's probably not correct, but let me just throw it out there. We do know for a fact that, and because it was mentioned, and we aired this a long time ago, it was mentioned that Picard, when he does whatever the flashback where he rescues the Romulans, right? The woman in the trailer, the first trailer, where she says, "Remember who you are, because we do," or something like that. She is one of many Romulans that he brought back to the vineyard, that works on his vineyard with him, that he took in. Right?
Do we know that?
What? Yes,
we don't know that. No, we don't.
I see him alone on the vineyard.
Empire magazine did an article. He has 2 Romulan women, and that kid, the guy who's the sword guy was a kid, and he's going to be in a flashback. It says it on IMDb too.
Romulan Legolas.
Okay,
Yes,
Romulan
Romulan
Legolas. Picard rescues him and his mother, and then it flashes forward in the pilot. So I think it's possible that Picard may have even married that woman, and he's his stepson.
No.
No.
Like I said, I'm probably wrong.
Pass judgment on this theory.
All I'm saying is, like,
I mean, I guess it's possible,
He
but
has
it sounds
two-
like it's whole cloth to me.
And if my grandmother had wheels, she'd be a wagon.
Trek Yards was the first ones that.
She does.
Oh yeah, they're
listen.
a legit source.
Yeah.
Carlos, you were the one that shared
know-
it. You were the one that
Shared
shared it in our chat when I said Trek Yards said about the 2 Romulan women. You went,
Yeah.
and then you found it on. In fact, it was on Apple News or something like that. You found the quote where they were talking about this, where he has 2 of the refugee women have been helping him out on the vineyard since that whatever incident is, and they're still with him, helping him out. They talk about this, and yes, Carlos was the one in our private chats who shared it when I found that. Because when Trek Yards showed that stuff and they talked about it, I'm like, where are they getting this information? And then Carlos goes, it was here, and you shared it in our private chat.
Yeah, I do remember sharing it. I don't remember the particulars of.
But all
what
I'm
that
saying
article
is-
said. But I would.
Not a big
the
deal,
whole
I'm just
notion
saying.
of extrapolating that into he's married to one of them is just no evidence for that.
Maybe it's his stepson. That's all I was saying.
That's
Stepson.
no.
I know. Oh no, he was scratching.
Every morning he goes into town and he gets croissants from the special place, and that the baker's daughter's son is who the whole thing is about. I mean,
I can see this.
Come on.
What Dave's not telling you is that this is an episode he wrote. He's
No.
for Picard, and
I don't need that hassle.
It's
Anyways.
she's actually one of the fish people that was discovered in the job that he never took in the ocean.
Oh,
in Brothers.
she's a Zindi.
No. She's literally a fish person from Earth that Picard never found out about because he didn't take that job to hide from Starfleet under the ocean in Brothers.
Can we talk about
Sun's theory has as much evidence as George's.
Carlos, can you pull up, or somebody pull up, that bad wig that Data's wearing?
Hold on.
When
because I don't care.
I don't
Honestly.
either. Well,
I
okay.
really don't. It's like
Did anybody want when they saw the Spanish version that came out first of the trailer? Did anybody think the narrator sounded like the dude from Jane the Virgin?
What?
I did not go out of my
Okay,
way to listen to the Spanish
one,
version, so I have no idea.
Yeah. There's
Hey,
that.
by the way,
I've
who's
never heard
this?
of this, whatever that is.
That's what we talked about earlier, Justin. I think it's Hugh, but I don't know.
No,
Let me
the girl off to the right.
Oh, the one on the right is the girl earlier that said, "Oh, you're going off on another adventure." She's one of his
Yeah, that's the
crew members.
Okay.
I forget her name, but
in the desert.
yeah, exactly. We don't know who she is, but I mean, they've named her. I just can't remember off the top of my head. But
I'm getting to the picture. Give me just a second.
I don't know who those guys are.
They're replicated datas.
Well, sort of. They're created Borg.
That actually makes sense that they could be a new type of Borg, so like new type of Cylon type idea.
They're like data.
I mean,
One
they
of
could
the-
be
one of-
they could be essentially weapons being developed by the Romulans. Using,
Probably the Tal Shiar, right?
yeah, using the
Borg.
Where is it?
captured
Oh,
Borg cube. Yeah.
It's like you're almost there. It's like seconds before that or after. I can't remember which. When he turns around, yeah, you're almost there. Yep. It'll be right after that. You've gone. Oh, right there. Oh my God, that wig.
That's
Well,
not-
you know,
You realize that Data's actual hair is a wig, right?
right.
But it looks better than that because it wasn't a wig.
That's not a wig, though.
It looked like that anytime they had to go like this and pop open his head.
Oh yeah, and pop open.
And
his-
the LED lights inside of it.
You guys are over defending it. The fact is that he didn't wear a wig back then because he was younger.
don't have
We're
to-
not
you
defending
don't
it. We
have
just
to
don't give a
defend it.
shit.
That looks bad.
Okay, what's
You
the
you
problem-
realize he's a synthetic being, right?
In this case, it's
George?
probably a dream sequence, but yeah.
He's
He's
a
a
dream
synthetic being who had
being.
good
Or as
hair.
old
No, he
as
didn't,
Brent
actually.
Spiner is, this looks pretty damn good if you ask me.
It looks
Well, I
fine.
didn't ask you.
Who cares?
I'm just kidding. I don't know. It just
There's
bugged
a
me.
level of uncanny valley to it, yes, and it is all in the face, not the hair. Get over it.
Agreed.
I don't get that reference, but anyways,
Uncanny Valley refers to something that is almost real looking, but falls short just enough that it gives you this cringy feeling.
Like Tarkin in the Rogue One thing. People kept
Yes.
saying how it creeped them out. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I see what you're
that's
saying.
an uncanny.
Now, see, here's the thing. People who knew what he looked like in real life had that happen. Those who had never seen the original Tarkin thought it was an actual actor.
Well, that's because they try to find the closest facial similarities before they do it, so it looks more blended in. But I saw how they did it behind the scenes. They did the same thing with Carrie Fisher for that. But they try to
Carrie
find
Fisher looked more Uncanny Valley to me.
Oh, for sure.
For a second, you're right. She did. And then she said Hope, but it wasn't that bad. But Tarkin with the dark. Anyways, we're getting off track. Yeah. So let's talk about the Discovery trailer. Wait, did anybody want to talk about the Picard trailer, but that hasn't got a chance to talk yet?
I'll just say it gave me chills. I loved it.
Me too.
Especially the part at the end. That was amazing.
Oh, I love that. The dock
Which
scene.
part was that?
The dock.
The what?
Like
The dock.
When they're on the dock.
OCK.
Oh yeah. That scene actually, I got a little choked up when he did that.
Oh, yeah.
That thing
I mean, you would never expect it with those two. I mean, you wouldn't expect seeing it on screen like that at all.
Oh,
Right.
I totally would.
I totally would too.
Like, think about where you were when you saw Nemesis. Think about where you were when you saw All Good Things. And I think what's so great about what we're seeing in the trailer today is that they're pushing their characters forward.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
we can all relate to them again in where we are in our life. So it's just so cool to see that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes,
It was a
agreed.
great moment.
I'm so glad they decided to do this show because it will help bring closure to, I think, the TNG era whenever they're finished.
Yep. I like that observation. I just think it's great that it wasn't the show anyone asked for, but welcome. They welcome. It's like
plenty of people have been asking for
Everybody
Have they?
wants something in the
well,
Prime
everybody
universe.
wanted a continuation of the Next Generation, but they didn't expect a Picard show.
They wanted a real closure. Nemesis was not it.
Right.
I
mean-
Well,
do
and if
have-
you're looking for closure for TNG, I'm not sure Picard's going to be it either, if that's what you're looking for.
It might not be. It might be for that saga.
Era saga, yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be about Picard. It's not going to be about TNG, you guys.
No, we know that. See, here's the thing. When I say fan service and all that stuff, what I mean is I'm just not surprised that they're doing this only because it's, and the fans know this too. Everybody's not giving them enough credit. They don't expect it to be about having all the characters.
Have you read some of those YouTube comments?
I know.
Have you read those
I know.
conjectures
I'm trying to be nice, Carlos.
on
I'm
Facebook?
trying to be nice.
People are like whacked out about it.
I'm trying to be nice. I know. It's just that people want to take the opportunity to see them again. That's all. I mean, people love all the characters. I mean,
Look, here's the line between these two things. Okay, fan service is when you're putting in something specifically
just for the,
but it's okay to make references to things because this is a universe. This is a constructed world, and it should be vibrant and comprehensive, and it should go deep. And all of those things. So inevitably, yes, there will be references to things and people that we've seen before, and that's just fine. But the in-your-face kind of thing, and the wouldn't it be great if? Usually, if you have to start a question off with "wouldn't it be great if," it's probably not a good idea.
But so far, they're being smart though. They're taking characters like Seven, who has a common theme with Picard, with the whole Borg thing, and that makes sense to include her.
Sure.
So
that's why Chakotay doesn't. Chakotay and Picard don't have anything to do with each other. So that's actually a great example of the difference between.
Except they actually do.
What?
Except they actually do, because Chakotay was part of that tribe that Picard was trying to shoo off.
He never
the
met
planet.
him though.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Casey.
Whoa.
Casey!
Whoa.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is unscripted.
Blast
Casey
from-
Shafsky, he must have an opinion. Casey's been listening, and now he has an opinion. Are you going to
Except
join
he's
us now,
not.
Casey?
By the way, everybody.
Nobody can see him.
By the way,
But we
everybody.
can hear him laugh.
Everybody,
Oh my
by the
God.
way, I want to take it aside. Casey sent me something for my birthday that I got today. I want to show you 2 items that I received. Carlos.
Batmobile
Yes?
and a Batman.
Get off your phone.
Oh wow!
Casey sent me
I'm
this.
checking the chat, dude.
And then I haven't opened this yet, but it's a bat. It actually, I haven't opened it yet though. But
Wow, he knows your love of Batman.
so,
I mean,
thank you,
it's
Casey.
not like George has an entire series where he riffs as Batman. or
That's a
anything.
good idea.
I don't know what you're talking about.
This is Batman. Oh, he's
Uh,
Batman.
yeah, don't quit your day job, buddy. So, but you could play the Whisperer. I don't know.
I really hope that okay, so we've seen the hero ship, and the hero ship is this spiky thing, and it's fighting that Romulan.
There was two of them though that were fighting it. Unless it has a hologram projection thing or whatever. I see
No,
that
I think
trailer.
it was just one.
Well,
It was
it
just
shows
moving
two
around
of
a lot.
them. Oh, you might be right actually.
Hold on.
Oh God, here we go.
But so we kind of get the idea that the hero ship is going to be that spiky looking ship that's
Well,
fighting
it's
Warbird.
it has an interesting name too, although they haven't confirmed
But
it. The
I really
La
kind of-
Serena or something like that.
I really kind of hope that they don't destroy the Warbird, because holy crap, would that be a nice hero ship? at the
I
end
have
of
a
the
feeling
first
it's not possible for that ship to take on that Warbird and win.
Why not?
Because it's a cargo ship, according to what they said on Instagram.
Yes,
It's a modified
but if that
cargo
is-
ship.
But if that's actually a really old Romulan ship, then and this is a modern cargo ship, it's quite possible.
It's possible that the best
wait
they've
a
got.
minute. Wait a minute. Okay, so you're saying that? So you're basically saying that the Millennium Falcon can't take on a bunch of TIE fighters? Fuck you.
TIE fighters are one thing. This is a Warbird.
It is a modified cargo ship.
And if we're
Yeah.
talking
Yeah,
about
exactly.
the old style TOS Warbird, those were supposed to be like sublight and
Yeah, although
These
people
could be
conveniently
I don't know
don't.
how that was possible.
Yeah, it's not possible. Everyone just
Things, and they
conveniently
use
retcons
nuclear
that
weapons.
away.
Everything's been retconned. We all know that. But speaking of that,
Old
Did you-
style nuclear weapons.
they showed a behind the scenes that Kowalski posted in one of his videos where some of the Romulans there have the exact makeup for their ears as the very first Romulans that appeared in the episode with Mark Leonard,
Balance of Terror.
Balance of Terror, right?
Are
And,
they different ears?
there are in this one.
Are they?
I wonder if we're going to see. The
Yeah, they look more like
first
Vulcan ears.
torpedo.
They changed it, I guess, because there was a whole behind the scenes thing about the whole how they changed the ears a little bit. Like now, of course, they use the
Nothing
same
about
ears as the Romulans.
No, they changed the forehead. They didn't
No,
change
no,
the ears.
That's I hated the foreheads. I really did.
I did too. But
Yeah.
Romulans have ridges.
Well, it's just like the
Yeah.
Klingons. Everybody that's getting mad about the foreheads, it's not that they undid it like they did with the. They're just saying there's different types of Romulans, just like there are different types of.
Here's the thing. It's so easy to ignore. I
yeah,
dislike
it
it
is.
in
It's
next
really
gen,
easy to ignore.
but who cares? If
Yeah.
it's a good character who's giving me drama, I don't pay
Exactly.
attention to his forehead.
yeah,
I do. No, I'm just kidding.
you clearly do.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
But no,
I
I'm
look at
I'm
Carlos's
totally with Dave on
forehead.
this one.
Carlos's forehead is like a 5 head. I'm sorry, I jumped in late.
Well, Casey, since you're here, what did you think of? Did you see the short trek?
Yes, sir.
Let me get your opinion on that to catch you up with where we are. What did you think of the Spock #1 episode?
I found that really interesting. Very, very different. The whole with her trying to not release her name even though it's on the pad, and then the whole song thing of
Oh, that threw me off. I was like,
Well,
wow,
she
they
wasn't
really-
showing the pad
Yeah.
to everyone or
Well,
something.
no.
right.
but you could see that, and it's like, okay, Una is her name. And then the song deal, I was like,
Una
okay,
is her name,
what
Mo?
part of you are you hiding that you're much more artistic than you're letting on, or
Whimsical
what?
is the word. you're looking
Whimsical,
for.
yeah.
Okay,
Whimsical.
that makes sense.
You know, and I think the fact that in some ways the message I took away from this short trek is that in some very profound ways, the Spock we know best, the cues that he has learned about how to deal with humans come more from what he learned from her than what he how he grew up.
That's not what I got out of this.
Really? What did you
What
get out
I
of
got
it?
out of this was the first officer of the Enterprise was showing him how to be the first officer of the Enterprise.
Oh, I
because
like
she
that.
said you're obviously going for command. Being first officer is being in command.
Yeah.
And I felt that that's what the cue was. It had less to do with how to deal with humans, and
that he was more ambitious than he was not. Yeah.
And how to be a commander.
I'm not sure that this
Command
is
respect,
an
not
either
by being
or.
silly.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And her whole thing about this never happened. This will be. There's a hole in your head where this memory is. Clearly it's something that she did not want out there in any way because. And so I think you're right, but I don't think this is an either or. I think it's a both and because I think the reason that they had this almost instant connection is because she is a human who tamps down her emotions in order to do her job.
Yeah.
He's a Vulcan who tamps down his emotions in order to do his job.
Which, by the way, how thoughtful is that of the writers to understand that in the first pilot, she was supposed to be the emotionless and not Spock, and how it got changed later. And so what did they do?
They bring it around.
They brought it together, and they do care, and they are paying attention to
it was amazing. And it goes to show, like I said, that it's almost like happenstance. It wasn't done on purpose, like you said, Carlos. The whole point of the fan film guidelines are that you do a 15-minute. Anyone who has a problem with the 15-minute timeline, watch any of these short treks, but this is a standout episode. You can tell a great story in a turbo lift for 15 minutes, and it's an amazing story. Watch any Doctor Who mini episode, such as Night of the Doctor with Paul McGann, where he does his swan song and turns into John Hurt. You can tell a story, and that was just 7 minutes, by the way, but you can tell a great story in a crunched period of time. It's called a short story.
That is not why they're doing it, but yes.
I know. I'm just saying that it's a good example.
My takeaway is you can't go wrong when you use Gilbert and Sullivan.
One point I'd like to bring up. Casey, can we get a couple of alerts, please?
Yes, we haven't had one in a long time.
Casey.
What alert do you want, my friends?
Well, okay, one that George always needs would be spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Now, see,
is he playing a clip or is that just his
wait a
voice?
minute.
That's his voice.
You can't laugh if we're recording this.
That's
okay?
right. You can't use the recording if you're laughing. So do it one more time,
mute
Casey.
yourself.
Nobody make any noise.
All right, here we go. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Excellent.
We gotta build a
I feel like
soundboard.
my exit is coming up.
Well,
turn left.
What was the other one that you? What was one of the other ones you did?
I'm trying
Black
to remember.
alert. You did
You
Black
have
alert.
reached your destination.
Relevance alert. Relevance alert.
And so, okay, so that was your opinion of the short trek. Now, what did you think of the Picard trailer?
I dug it, man. I really, there was so much going on in there, and I think part of the emotion of seeing Riker and Troy, and that made up for that hideous data wig.
See, it's not just me. It's not just me.
That wig altered his face so much. It looked like a Play-Doh Fun Factory.
Bad wig alert. Bad wig alert.
Crappy wig alert. Crappy wig alert.
I may need one of those one day.
Oh my God. That's why I wear hats now, Carlos.
Okay, so there's one thing that I did notice that I know is going to have no bearing on the show whatsoever, but it made me think of a thing. The teaser that they posted, what was it, yesterday, for the new Picard trailer? The little teaser.
Oh, that little one of him walking?
Yeah. That reminded me so much of the Mannheim effect with the multiple datas, and he's trying to get that, he's trying to stop that time effect. And it seems like that's going to have no bearing on this show whatsoever, but I'm like, that Why? Why do
Probably
that?
not, but I'm sure
cool,
there's
but-
some sort of relevance to it because you notice they use it again at the very beginning of this new trailer.
right.
Yeah.
That image of
Very
him in kind of the
briefly.
greenish.
I don't know.
light and the
My
same-
feeling about that is hey, we need something as a sort of tease, something that's visually interesting. Send
Okay.
it to that division and get them, and then they'll give a suggestion and they'll show us a little clip and we'll say, yeah, go with that, or no, I don't like that.
Yeah, that's
Probably what's
where,
going on.
That's where my mind went as well, and I'm like, that reminds me of the Mannheim effect.
Most
Like,
likely, it was just a cool effect, but it could have a hidden meaning that we don't know about. We don't know. Let the geeks debate it out there
I
for all
guess
time.
we'll find out.
That's right.
Well, Son and Dave, I have a question for you on that. Because with what you were just saying, and then in the trailer when they showed what looked to me like new versions of multiple data type androids.
Zoom androids.
I looked at that, I go,
Yeah, I didn't know what those were.
Is that
They
the
look like-
echo effect?
Oh, wait a minute. You know what? Casey might be onto something because remember the scene in the first trailer where the blonde lady is pulling out a drawer of B-Force broken
Yes,
down
that's
parts?
what I've been saying.
Yeah.
I would assume that Starfleet is trying to recreate that sort of.
Well, that was
thing. If
always
not
the,
Starfleet.
yeah.
It could just be scientists. But obviously, there's a problem with it because they're still having pieces of data lying around, and
You notice they don't
haven't
show his
found a
junk
way to put
when
them
they-
together.
Anyways,
Yeah, I would think that that's stored perhaps.
In a little
Elsewhere.
lockbox.
the Daystrom Institute, whatever it's called. You know,
Yeah, but see, here's the thing: that the jumpsuits or whatever the hell those things are wearing seem more like prison attire than anything.
well, on the Borg
because
cube.
they're-
Well,
They're
300
safe.
years previous, sure.
So what I've gathered is that with the Romulan, the Tal Shiar that are occupying that cube, they're showing like the girl is running away from that. They all seem to be. They're probably the former Borg drones that have been converted back to human or whatever they were, Android or Andorian or whatever. So they were probably being experimented on, and they show people on tables and the Romulans doing whatever. So it's pretty obvious that they're using that entire cube to occupy, and the Tal Shiar have been experimenting on these former drones, and that most of them have been turned back, and she's one of them. But the difference being
You
that
have
she's
no clue the Tal Shiar is in this thing at all.
Yeah, that's true. Stop
They
making
have-
that assumption. You don't know.
they have mentioned it
Did you notice the? Did you
Where was
notice
that?
Where was
somewhere.
that mentioned?
somewhere.
The,
You don't know.
It was not, man.
I heard it somewhere. I don't know where.
Didn't the guys on the catwalk look Romulan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the
You can
Borg
freeze the
cube?
pictures. They look, they're holding the
But
guards.
No, do you guys remember that little placard?
Oh, wait, son. Sorry. The reason I can tell you that Tal Shiar, go to IMDb. Tal Shiar Sentry, Tal Shiar, whatever. That's why I know. It says Tal Shiar. That's where I got it. I was trying to remember where I heard it. It's on IMDb. They list so-and-so
Yeah,
place,
I
Tal
know,
Shiar
right.
this, Tal Shiar guard, Tal Shiar. It's all on there.
See, I'm old-fashioned. I don't troll Tal Shiar. I don't troll IMDb for.
Oh, I didn't troll. I was trying to check the actress's
No,
name.
by troll I don't mean troll. I mean like
troll.
Go looking
wow.
around.
Thank you.
And I know IMDb's can be changed, and everybody tells me that, but I don't know.
I just want to watch the show and see them.
Yeah.
You guys
I
remember-
actually stumbled upon it. I wasn't looking for spoilers or anything.
Do
I
you
just
guys remember the little
Fire.
placard on the catwalk? Like 5,000 something plus days.
How many
Since our last
days?
Yeah.
assimilation, yeah.
Since Borg
Right.
invasion or
That's
something.
Right.
how many years?
Oh, I
12.
forget, 20 something. I forget what.
well. Oh, I'm thinking of it since Enterprise. You're right. I'm thinking of since Enterprise aired. It's been like 12 years. But as far as since
No, we're talking about in universe, George.
yeah, it's like 17, 18 years, something like that. Something like that.
Sounds about right.
Oh, George.
you go ahead.
By the way, really quick, I did look up that thing. You were right. There were two ships.
But is it could it be that holographic trick like the Voyager did in that one episode?
I
where-
doubt it. I
Yeah.
doubt it.
That looks
But-
more like a pod racer than a spaceship, though.
Well, but there are two ships.
Is one
So-
connected to the other and they split off during
See,
combat?
they both are
Go
shooting.
back.
Right, but my question is it the same? Is it from the same ship? Because it looks like the hull's the same, so it splits off like a separate drone that fights, maybe. You know what I mean? And then it comes
Should
back
be right
together.
after this.
Could be.
Ah,
It is definitely a smaller ship. It could be a shuttle.
I'm thinking it's a drone that disconnects during combat. I don't know.
It doesn't look like it's a part of that ship.
Doesn't it have the same hull design? Go back a little bit.
No, it doesn't. See, look, even the colors of that shuttle are different. They're
are they?
Yeah.
All right. Because I was going to say, if it looked like the same,
they almost look
job,
kind of Orion-ish to me.
I don't know. That looks like to me.
I
Like the
think
same
it
color
looks
theme.
Tholian.
It is very sort of. It looks more like one of those. It looks more like that kind of shuttle that they had in Nemesis. The
Argo?
Yeah, the Argo class shuttle.
I think it looks like the same paint job, though. I think it's part of it. There's the red parts, and then there's the.
We're not talking about the big one. We're talking about the little one.
I know the little one.
There's no red in that.
It's from Tatooine.
Anyway, Mr. Casey, to go back to your question.
Anyway,
it seems as though that the story might revolve around someone, Romulan or not, or otherwise, trying to create a Data-like race using a hybridization of Borg tech that they could control using some kind of Queen-type figure.
Or Cylon synthetic race or something. Or
It's not
soldier.
a Cylon.
No, I'm just using it as an example. Synthetic beings.
They want something, and it is entirely possible because I do have some intel that says that Denise Crosby will be in this show.
As Sela, right?
As Sela.
Now here's the other thing, though. This is something that the Romulans have done time and time again, is try and use other people to control things.
Yeah.
Does anybody remember the albino using the drone and Enterprise?
Well, especially the Tal Shiar, if that's who they are. Makes sense.
Yeah, no, I mean that is the Romulan.
One can assume they
right.
also had the pieces of the destroyed Data's body.
Yeah,
it's possible.
So between that
that's
and the Borg, it's entirely possible that that you're right, that they're trying to construct a set of drones or warriors or whatever.
There's so many possibilities.
Yeah.
And they're going to be doing the prequel comics, a new version of Countdown. Interesting title, but obviously they're doing it on purpose because they're trying to override the old Countdown, as we figured out in the comic. Sean pointed out, no, they're doing it on purpose because the name of that first flashback comic is the same name as the comic that everyone's saying is still canon that JJ and Alex Kurtzman did, which was Countdown. So they're trying to override it as the new Countdown for that reason. Well, at least that's what it seems like to me.
Look, Countdown just, to me, at this point, anything that's labeled Countdown for Trek looks like it's supposed to be some kind of introduction to a thing now. That's what that looks like.
Let's move on a little bit because we're going to get heavily into the second hour here, or just starting the second hour. And Joe pointed out something in the chat room here. We haven't talked about Discovery Season 3 trailer because that's huge too. And let me start with Dave on that one. What did you think of Discovery Season 3 trailer?
I was very intrigued. I have no idea where they're going other than it looks like the Federation is perhaps tattered or weakened or possibly not even there, because I got a serious vibe from the little thing with the guy unfurling the flag,
right.
office waiting, that maybe he's a hologram.
Totally a hologram.
It could be.
I think so too.
That's the vibe I got because he seemed to suggest like he was waiting there for a long time. That's what holograms do.
Yeah, and remember the original Karen Sorbo's Andromeda was based off Gene Roddenberry's pilot for a sequel in the future of how the Andromeda was the Federation.
I don't think you're going to necessarily find tie-ins there.
No, I just
the hologram makes sense because
it does.
When you see the clothes that he was wearing, I'm like, that's not 1,000 years in the future. Like,
technically 930.
I'm not sure how you know that necessarily, but I think somebody's presence that it reminded me somehow of, believe it or not, That Which Survives, which is sort of the empty room and the hologram that appears.
The one with the doctor and the alternate doctor is telling the story.
No, That Which Survives is a TOS episode where they're on the planet. I am for you, James Kirk, and she wants to touch him, and
who didn't
get him off the planet?
I am for you, Joe Diaz.
Somebody definitely activated the the emergency Federation ambassador with that scene to me.
Yeah.
I think you're right. We'll find out, but it does make sense as to why he's been waiting. Could this tie into Calypso? In the way that they're doing it, the way that they're showing it?
I mean,
don't
there's
know.
probably some hints in Calypso because it takes place, I guess, after this. But I
Yeah,
thought it was
probably.
interesting that I guess Burnham has been looking for the rest of the crew
Yeah.
for a year.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
By
Yeah,
the way,
they-
alone, she seems to have somebody who can braid her hair.
Noted.
I thought that was
The
interesting.
emergency holographic. Her hair looks great in that picture. I hope it stays that way.
State the hair emergency. State your hair emergency.
Oh no.
The emergency holographic hairdresser.
Now, see,
Oh, I can
it's
actually picture
interesting.
Robert Picard playing that.
I mentioned this in our chat before the show, and I think it bears repeating. But that scene of the 3 hairstyles, it stood out specifically to me because at least the first 2. I don't know about the third, and then going on, but the first 2 hairstyles remind me of. There was a big. I don't know. There was like somewhat large media attention over a Trek cosplayer, who wound up getting her hairstyle actually put in Star Trek Online, and that hairstyle is what that looks like on her in the first screen.
No.
Now in the second screen, she looks a lot like Billie Piper from Doctor Who.
Oh.
Well,
And-
I don't think I
but I don't
looked
think
that
there's
up.
any great
I'm not-
significance.
Right.
No.
I'm not saying that.
I
it
think they
has
were
any
just trying to
significance.
make them
I think it's
as
just
as
like
different
little
as
things
possible.
they're throwing out because
Yeah,
they're
well, they're
making
trying to
it-
show that time has passed.
right.
Yeah.
They're
That's
making it
that's the
seem like a
reason.
year
Yeah.
has passed, right?
It's a montage thing. Yeah.
And it stood out to me because it looks like, okay, here's a reference you may get. Here's a reference you may get. Look, here's what her hair is going to be.
Where was she, by the way? It seemed to be sort of a shuttle. It had a bed in it or a couch. It's definitely somewhere she was sleeping, and she certainly didn't travel with all
And
that.
is this guy her new love interest? Probably. I don't know. Nothing that matters.
I don't know.
You don't
But,
know. We just know I think he is a regular though.
He is. Yep.
in this season.
Maybe her EV suit had a portable emergency shelter.
Well,
Carlos, what did you think?
I thought it was great. I agree with Dave. It's intriguing what it says about the hologram thing. Did not occur to me, but it makes a lot of sense.
I could
me.
be totally wrong, by the way.
No, I mean it could be
makes
either way.
sense.
But I can see it. I can see it because the thing is, if the Federation was an ongoing concern, you wouldn't make a big deal of unfurling the flag. It would be unfurled already. You know, it's a special occasion that makes him unfurl it.
Okay, good.
So that's why I think that it's not necessarily an ongoing concern, at least in the way that we would think that it is. But this whole notion of her spending months or a year trying to find her friends again after saving them, I think is completely intriguing.
I hope they don't drag that out, by the way.
Yeah, that's the only real potential issue. Is
You
that
know
they
they're
do-
going to.
You know, it's sort of like last
Well, they
season.
may not.
Will you go ahead and give us Spock already? Remember when we were like halfway through the season? We're
Yeah.
Like, where the hell is Spock?
I actually do
Same
understand the reasoning for that, though, because they really wanted to set up the relationship between Michael and Spock before
That's true.
so focused on Spock because there's Spock.
By the way, do we think she cuts her hair back to the way it was because of scenes, or does she grow it out during the season? Because
I
she gets
don't
reunited
care.
with Discovery and her hair's long in one of those pictures.
I don't care.
Yeah.
No one cares.
It's really, you know, it's like back
I just
when
think she
people
looks
used
great
to,
with that long
used to
hair.
have like huge debates over Janeway's
know.
hairstyle.
I just
It's
think
like,
her hair looks
really,
great.
people,
Yeah.
really.
It doesn't
I kind
matter,
of wish that
but her wig was so bad at the end of last season that this is an
the
improvement
wig?
already.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
you're talking about Burnham's, right?
correct.
Yeah.
She had a wig?
I didn't even notice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because her hair, yeah, okay. It was long offline.
I'll be perfectly honest. I would have been entirely okay with Spock not showing up at all last season.
I think you
'Cause it-
said that before too.
'cause
and
it
we were all
seemed-
like, no.
Speaking of wigs.
Here's why. Because it seemed like the moment Spock showed up, the entire storyline of those lights flipped.
Well,
Yeah,
that is
and that's
why
what
they
was
left
great.
him
And
they
what's
left
great.
him until episode 7 or whatever.
Because all of a sudden the storyline of the lights no longer made sense.
I'm not sure the lights made sense much.
Yeah, even
Even
without,
in the
you know,
beginning. But I'll tell
the
you
lights
this,
are problematic.
I don't
throughout.
care. I
Yeah.
mean, the Star Trek science has always been sort of wonky.
Wonky. Yeah, that's exactly the word I was thinking of.
Yeah, I mean, so who cares? It's the characters in the story I care about.
It's whatever, as they say.
It's
Yeah.
exactly.
You're so hip.
Exactly. It's the story.
Where's
It
your
ain't,
scarf?
yes.
But there are a lot of people for whom those kinds of inconsistencies ruins the story. I'm not one of them, but there are people out there who they end up attaching their sense of identity to what they think is Star Trek
They
canon.
dwell
Anything that
Star
deviates-
Trek
every nut and bolt, and there's this. It's like no, don't.
to
You'll
cause
drive
people
yourself
to
mad.
forget what they've seen. Star Trek beamed people back into themselves.
Yeah,
That makes zero sense,
sense.
and we enjoyed the episode.
Yeah. It's all about having fun, watching a bunch of people, work out a situation. I mean, why do you have to dwell in every little detail? It just ruins the whole thing.
Because we're
Carlos
like,
is right. There's people who do love doing that, and so long as they get fun out of doing that, fine. But there are some who want to ruin other people's fun by doing that and saying, "This is a
Exactly.
crap show. You shouldn't be enjoying it because the science doesn't make sense." Well,
Joe-
welcome to Star Trek.
Joe, what did you think of the trailer for Discovery Season 3?
I was intrigued. I didn't think about the hologram, but it makes sense because, I was thinking like, oh, I hope it's not like a fractured federation and they're going to come back and save it. Like, if it's not even there, that's even
What
weird.
if something they
What-
did caused this?
Right.
Yeah,
What
that's
if what?
Yeah.
Wait, what'd you say?
What if something they did caused this to happen?
Yes.
I got the impression
I'll
that
think that.
you know what I noticed? Speaking of that, I noticed that even though it's just a throwaway line, like "I've been waiting for you," you would think, even though it's classified shit, wouldn't it be possible that he's implying that someone in Starfleet way back when prepared
Ash.
for them to come at this time and greet Burnham? You know what I mean? Because they were expecting this, because they knew when behind the
they?
scenes.
I don't know. If he's a
I don't think
hologram,
they
I'm going
knew.
to say they're waiting for
31.
anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
See,
think
that's
they're
the
waiting
thing.
for anybody.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's tricky. Well, you know what though? I'm intrigued.
Trailer. You know what we didn't see in the trailer?
Who? What?
The squid probes.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't
because
think-
they're gone.
Why would you?
Yeah.
Control is
Yeah.
gone.
Control was fine. The squid thing happened 500 years after. This
Yeah.
is 930 years later. And
The future was changed.
yeah, and also, what I love about this is that and they're still going to do it, but all the naysayers out there are going to say, at least they can no longer say it's not canonly correct because this is uncharted territory. This is completely new timeline. They've never gone this far ahead in Star Trek.
Don't worry, they'll find a way.
Oh,
They'll
do
find.
something.
Yeah, I know. They'll find.
complain.
I'm already starting to hear it. By the way, they're already starting to say
This
Oh,
ain't Star Trek.
they not only screwed up canon, but they're now making the future past Picard suck.
Cannon
That's-
alert.
I'm
We need
already
a
hearing
cannon
that.
alert.
I'm
Yeah,
already hearing
canon.
that.
Oh, that's what we need. Let's get a clean recording of this.
Canon
Casey,
record.
Canon alert.
Cannon alert. Cannon alert.
Okay, great.
Well, and it's also what you guys are saying. It's like
should
if
hire
you're
you,
stuck
Casey.
in some, crappy self-storage place in Georgia, you're gonna bitch about everything because that's what you're gonna do.
Speaking of badly form-fitting uniforms, no, I'm just kidding.
Man, boo.
Everybody has
Movies.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Tell us how you really
So-
feel, Casey. Casey, tell us how you really feel.
Oh,
So,
man.
But what did you
I
think of the
have-
trailer, Casey?
I love the trailer. It's like it's a trailer. You're not going to see everything. You're not going to know exactly what's going on. It has to be intriguing enough to entice you to come in. I go, yeah, cool. I'm ready for season 3. Let's do it. And like you're saying, when you're not stuck to any previous canon, now story-wise, you're wide open. And people can like it or not like it, but it's like, well, here it is, and it doesn't conflict with anything that came before.
That's true. I never noticed that before. Oh, yeah.
This is where they converted cameras into weapons.
Yeah.
They're using their webcams against us.
Projector.
They look like
those are force projectors.
They look like Dalek. The Dalek eye stalks.
We see them twice in this trailer. We see them here, and you'll notice a couple of things because we also see them in that shot that you were talking about earlier, George, where with the Morn alien in it as well.
Oh yeah.
So we see a bunch of Andorians here, obviously, but also humans behind them. And interestingly, the uniform they're wearing has a Klingon style sash to it.
It does look like a sash.
Interesting.
Sort of.
It is. And when you look at it,
actually, no. You know what? They look like bandoliers, not sashes. Look at the straps.
What about Romulan?
No, like there's a difference between a sash and a bandolier. I think those are wartime bandoliers.
Bandoliers, don't they hold like?
Well, yeah, but
ammunition?
we can't. They look like they have stuff in the pockets.
Those don't look like ammunition.
Okay, so I have a question for everybody. And this is probably showing how young I am, but does anybody else think those look like Mega Man blasters?
Yeah, a little bit. They do, actually. They do. I know what you're talking about, and yeah, I get that reference, and yeah, it does kind of look like that.
They look like, by the way, is this Burnham in a Trill pond?
Yes, it is, because the very next scene is a bunch of Trills in a group.
I would love it if there was a Dax there. I think that would be awesome.
Oh, you know what? That would not surprise me if they did that.
That would be cool.
There's your
DS9 connection.
Total fan service.
Well,
it's going to be that guy we're looking at right there.
The inheritors of Dax makes sense, and that's in this context totally. How far the symbiote can live, we don't even know how long they can live. They're never going to answer that because then they're going to screw themselves in a corner if they decide to do something with it. Oh yeah. So
he looks like he's lost. The Doctor.
It's a big ship. It is a big ship.
Who's pointing the gun?
You know, I'm wondering if Stamets is even still alive.
Is what?
Well, we saw him in the trailer.
Yeah, but they made him into a hologram on the STO.
Who are you talking about?
Stamets.
He's not a hologram.
Of course, he's still alive. You guys.
They were both on the ship.
But okay. So here's an answer to that question. At the time that we're dealing with stuff in Star Trek Online, there is no Stamets, so it makes sense that they would make a hologram of him in Star Trek.
I'm not even gonna pay attention to that.
Also, it's a game.
It's a game. It's not gonna be taken into account.
Also, who is this?
That's
not Reno.
That's Ezri.
No, it's obviously a new character, some kind.
Yeah,
wearing a Nazi uniform.
Yeah,
it's kind of like it.
It's
hard to tell. We can't tell if that's a Jeffries tube on Discovery or not. No, I mean I can make it bigger, but
I'm just joking. I'm just joking, man.
Make it bigger.
Yeah,
there they are. There's the guys I was talking
Mega Man
about.
blasters.
Let's get them there.
Obviously, the only thing we can say for sure is, well, not for sure, but
there's Morn.
It looks to me, that's the one Sean was
and a
pointing out.
Cardassian. But see, look at those. Those are not bandoliers. Those are sashes.
There's straps in the top, though. Sashes don't like that.
War 1, very similar.
It's fashion of the future.
They could be bandoliers. How do we know that they're not holding little tiny
What's the alien
power
next to
cells?
the Andorian on the left?
Oh, that's a new type of alien. Looks like
I don't recognize
That's a Mon Calamarian.
He's got tusks. It looks like. I could be wrong.
It could be a Tellarite. One of the new Tellarites.
It could be some new alien.
That doesn't look like a Tellarite.
I think it's some new alien.
It's hard to tell.
And by the way, is that a purple Andorian on the right?
No, it's just the lighting.
That's
from
just the lighting. That's just the lighting
from the sun or whatever.
Because notice there's a red hue over on the right.
Yeah, so whatever. It's either the sun
equals purple.
They're storming the beaches of Tatooine.
So I wonder if this is
Luke is about to show up.
If they're the remnants of the Federation or the remnants
something.
They're something, because
some faction that got put together, They're pirates.
But they're also going after Burnham and her new pal. So
yeah.
So one other thing, another interesting dynamic that we see in the trailer is we hear Saru give his speech there, and then we also see the countervailing opinion from Giorgio, and this goes back to our debate earlier about who is going to be the captain of the Discovery in season 3.
I always thought it would be her. She'll step up.
Well, she's wearing a captain's uniform there, and she wasn't wearing that last we saw her.
That's true.
She had the all black uniform.
You may have just nailed it. She might be. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the reason not in a uniform.
No, wait a minute.
Whether she becomes captain or not, I can see her trying to have it.
Yep.
Okay. The picture is kind of unclear, and
it's very clear. That's a Starfleet uniform.
No,
those are 4 stripes or
Let
whatever.
me finish. Damn it. Okay. The picture is short enough. The clip is short enough that we can't tell if the front of her uniform is black or blue.
It's blue.
Her pauldrons are blue for sure.
It's blue.
It's blue.
Yeah, it's blue.
That's
I got my big monitor here.
I would almost guarantee that if Giorgio created her own Starfleet uniform to be captain, she'd probably make parts of it black.
Can you zoom in?
That's blue.
No, it's clearly blue. I'm looking at it. It is.
It's
blue.
the lighting that makes it seem like it might be
blue,
black.
Blue.
Can you zoom? Just zoom. No.
See, you can even see in. Sorry, let me get back to that.
Dang it, Carlos.
Sorry, this YouTube only does 5 seconds at a time. Okay, now watch carefully as we move through here.
It looks like she's actually, yeah.
I have to say though, I do like Burnham in the longer hair.
Yeah,
great. That's a better hair.
She looks great. Yeah.
So cool.
And I think they're going to have her keep it that way because in real life she's always had it long and just easier to just let the actress do whatever, you know.
I thought it was very cool.
And there, Giorgio is in her black.
Yep.
Well, remember, it's a whole season. Sort of
yeah. So we don't know which part we're looking at, but
right.
I thought it was very cool that they had her in Vulcan hair almost the first time we ever saw Burnham, or in the flashback to when she first arrived on the ship, and then even in the very first episode, it was still more sort of Vulcanish. And then after she goes to prison, does it become more natural? And I guess somebody actually asked...
And kind of nappy when she was in prison. Remember? It was like all kind of...
Yeah, well, because she wasn't caring about doing her hair.
Right.
But somebody asked her why her hair... Somebody asked the actress why her hair is like that and not like it was in the first. Why does it look like it does? And she said, because that's the way my hair grows. I thought that was a great answer.
Yeah, we should start wrapping up as we've gone on a long time talking about good stuff. But
that clickbait, though, Carlos, there at the end.
Picard has a daughter.
It's meet Picard's daughter. You'll never know. You'll never realize how.
That's just clickbaity.
So I want to point out also that we're still in the middle of New York Comic Con. There's going to be stuff breaking tomorrow and probably the next day. So I mean, we've heard rumors about all kinds of things with Crisis on Infinite Earths. So, Dave, I want to thank you for joining us. Those 2 subjects by themselves today was enough to talk about for a whole show. And there's going to be more stuff hopefully being revealed for the rest of the weekend. But, Dave, tell everybody again, as you're wrapping up, tell us the name of the book. And you said it's December 18th it gets released?
December 17th, Star Trek Discovery, Dead Endless. It is it's not a novelization of anything. It's a new novel, and hopefully you guys will all like it, and you'll tell me what you think. And
I'm gonna get it.
You'll see that it has Stamets and Culber on the cover. Culber is on Stamets' mind.
And you can plug it again when we have you on December 8th for our next motion picture anniversary episode.
I'll be there.
And we'll have you come back after the book has been released to talk about it, and then I'll have read it, and I can tell you how much I hated it.
All right, fair enough.
Where else can people find you, by the way, on social media?
I'm at Dave Galanter on Twitter. I think I have an Instagram account with the same name. I don't post to it often enough. And you can probably find me on Facebook as well.
All
Dave, if you would not close your shutters nearly as much,
we'd know so much more about
much
you.
Easier.
Well, I there was a petition that went around by the neighbors asking me to make sure that my shutters and drapes were closed. And, I don't want to be when people have torches and pitchforks, you listen.
Carlos, where can people find you?
I can be found on Twitter at cpedraza and at AxeMonitor, on the web at axemonitor.com, and on Facebook in the Axe Monitor Facebook group and the official Axe Monitor Facebook page.
And what about you, son?
I could be found on YouTube watching the Lost in Space 2 trailer over and over again.
I haven't seen that yet. I gotta watch that.
That rendition of What a Wonderful World, though, is like amazing for that trailer.
I missed. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that dropped that I still haven't caught up with yet. What about you, Justin?
Real Super Geeks, Axe Monitor, any number of groups. The cover
There's
very
the-
good.
Oh, thank you.
Good cover. By the way,
You weren't lying. You
Dave,
weren't
do you
lying.
ever-
Culver is on Stamets' mind.
Yeah.
hey, by the way, I'm curious. I'm curious. Do you have a say on the cover art, or is
No.
that no? Okay.
I saw it, and I actually saw
like, oh!
a different version of this slightly, and wasn't that fond of it. And
Did they ask your opinion at least?
No.
Aw.
And then this came out, and I was like, well, that actually works. That's better. What
I
I'm
was just
curious
curious.
about is what's on the reverse side, because I haven't seen it yet.
So
Can you zoom in?
Okay, God.
Oh, you're the
Enhance.
worst.
Zoom in so you can't see my name anymore. Is that it?
Joe, where can people,
Hey, it's Joe, man. It's
Joe, where can people find you?
You can find me at lightyearmodels.com. And what I'm watching, Midsummer, I watched it last weekend. What a mindfuck that movie is. Midsummer, check it out.
Oh, yeah, that's yeah.
Whew.
We'll get into what we're watching with
Joe
more
is
time next
also-
time. But sorry,
Joe,
son. Go.
Joe is also in the middle of making another shit list.
Or
What he
ship
does.
Casey, where can people find you?
You can find me at georgiamoobs.com / pinkpony.gov.
I had to ask.
Oh my God.
Quick reminder to everybody in the audience: on December 8th, Dave will be rejoining us along with Dayton Ward, Larry Nemechek, Kit Walski, and Chris Stuhan for our Star Trek: The Motion Picture anniversary, 40th anniversary event episode, which will be in the daytime this time. It will be 5 p.m. West Coast time. That is a Sunday. It's the same day Crisis on Infinite Earth starts, so that'll be interesting. So
And George, don't geek the hell out. For the
You know
love
he
of
will.
God.
You know he will. He's
No.
gonna be.
Be professional.
no, I'm going to mute myself.
Professional.
I'm
I'm
going
going
to
to mute myself.
I'm just going to mute myself and let everybody talk. Everybody can talk, and I'll just sit back and go.
That'll be something to look forward to.
Yeah, I know. 'Cause
Out, George.
Lies.
you know I'm full of shit. Anyways, so I want to thank everyone who joined us in the chat room tonight. And remember, New York Comic Con is still happening. This is just tip the iceberg, hopefully. Just a tip. Anyways, thank you for joining us, Dan, Dave, and we'll see you and everybody else, hopefully, the next time.
Next time.